This is my MTD garden tractor, and it has been an amazing garden tractor, but it's over 30 years old. And in its old age, it's a little more particular than it was when I first got it about getting started. I've got a 10-point checklist that I even have written on the top of my mower to try and verify that I've got everything right before I give up and take it into the shop to get it worked on. So let's go through every single one of them, and maybe I can help you get yours started too. So number one on my list is checking the oil. Pull out the dipstick and make sure that it's in the range, and this happens to be right where it needs to be. So that's number one. So number two on my list is to make sure you got enough fuel. And I'm running a little low, so I'm going to add a bit to make sure we got enough to get started. And for the mowing I want to do today. Number three on my list, if the mower won't start, is to check the spark plug. And mine happens to be way in the front, and so I just kind of feel it. I kind of wiggle around the cap to make sure that it's nice and tight and make sure I can get a good spark. So number four on my list is just double check that I'm in park on my gear shifter so that I cannot, in case I can't get it started. And also then when I am going to start it, that I've got the clutch engaged. The other thing to check is that your battery's charged. And if it ran well the last time, this probably isn't an issue. But if you got a battery charger, you might want to try that. Generally, at the beginning of the season, you're always going to need to charge your battery up. Now, number six on my list is actually checking the fuse that's underneath this plate. Now, this isn't one of the first things. In fact, this is probably the last thing I will do, is to check the fuse in here. But I just need to loosen and then remove these two screws that hold the plate in place, and then sort of lift this up and get it out of the way. And there is a 10 amp fuse right here. It's red, and I've only had it blow once, but it did blow when I transported my mower on a trailer one time. When I came back, it wouldn't start. So to pull that fuse out and check it, you're going to need a little needle nose pliers, and can pull it out. And if you've got an ohmmeter, you can double check that the wire or the metal across the two pins is connected. There's no break in it. If you see any sort of little break, or it doesn't ohm out to being basically a short, then you got a problem. Get a new 10 amp fuse. You can get them at Walmart or wherever. But it's an easy check, but it's also the last thing I check. But it is number six. Whenever you start your mower, the lever for engaging the blades has to be in the off position, obviously, or you're going to have the mower engage, and that's a safety problem for starting. So a known problem with these old mowers is number 7, which is this lever arm kind of being engaged even though it's not engaged. And what happens is that this gets a little worn down right here. And so the mechanism inside thinks that the mower blade should be engaged because the lever is farther forward when really it's not. And so what you have to do is either build this area back up so that the handle is farther back, or what I did today when it wouldn't start is I just pulled back on it a little bit when I was starting the mower, and that took care of the problem. And now when I've started it since, it hasn't been a problem. So I don't know if that's going to become a problem here in the next few months or years, but it is something that's on my list, and so that's why it's number 7. Number 8 is I'm just going to double check that all of the wiring inside the tractor looks like it's all connected and no screws have come loose or connections have come undone that would cause a problem. And also checking on the back of the starter by the key, double checking that all looks secure so that there's no problem with electrical continuity. Now this isn't generally going to be a problem for starting unless you've been doing a lot of really dirty mowing, but a couple times during the season I'll actually go in and check my air filter, take the little cover off of it, and double check that it's clean, and replace that every few years, and clean it if it's just kind of dirty but still can be used. That's not generally going to stop it from starting, but it's still important to do. So number 10, I'm just going to make sure that my choke is out so that, and the shifter is in park and get my foot on the clutch before I start it up and see if I can get going.